And joining us on the line right now is Hannah Hess, a roll call reporter, and she covers a lot of things up on Capitol Hill. But interestingly enough, this story is not about the politicians on Capitol Hill, but about the police department, the Capitol Hill Police. Hannah, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you. Listen, it seems that there is a concern among enlisted officers and some people who oversee the Capitol Hill Police Department about the way that the chief, a man by the name of Kim Dine, is running the operation and his new focus, which is not so much on focusing on crime, but on sort of making it more of a counterterrorism unit.
Yes, exactly. And this article stems from a lot of reporting that I've been doing following the State of the Union address when there was a car chase that started up in Maryland. Prince George's County Police were pursuing the suspect in an armed robbery. It ended with a high-speed car chase that this guy drove towards the Capitol on State of the Union night, and Capitol Police did not take the man into custody. It was a decision made by the Watch Command that he didn't pose a big enough threat to be arrested that night.
And in fact, this is sort of a trend lately that they're telling their police officers not to make arrests.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing from my sources, is that there have actually been direct orders given that these are quote unquote low value stops to pull someone over for drunk driving, for any normal street crime that we would see around the Capitol. We don't want to focus on that. Let's just focus on high-level threats.
Hannah Hess, this was your exclusive story that broke this morning at Roll Call, and thanks for coming on WMAL to share it with us. Obviously, you've got a lot of sources there in the Capitol Hill Police Department, and they're talking to you. I wonder, listen, it's been, 14 years since 9/11 almost now. Obviously, this emphasis on counterterrorism is nothing new. What is different now? What has changed the relationship between the force and the chief?
Well, we know that there's a lot of fiscal austerity on Capitol Hill. Capitol Police has seen their budget shrink. They did get about a $10 million increase over last year in this year's budget, but still, when money is tight and resources are slim, you have to figure out how to keep the doors open, how to screen visitors who come in and out of Capitol buildings, and I think that there are long-standing tensions that have increased, and the smaller budget hasn't made things any easier.
Who has jurisdiction over things like this? If the union and members of the force are really starting to voice grievances, is this an issue for the sergeant at arms?
There's a body called the Capitol Police Board that consists of the House Sergeant at Arms, the Senate Sergeant at Arms, the Chief of Police, and the Architect of the Capitol that actually has jurisdiction over the Capitol Police. And then within Congress, the House Administration Committee and the Senate Rules Committee both have jurisdiction over Capitol Police.
People may not know. I looked it up again this morning. My memory was that there are about 1,500. Turns out there's about 1,600 police officers on the Capitol Hill force. And you say, well, how does that compare? Well, that's as many police officers as patrol the streets of Indianapolis or Newark, New Jersey, or Austin, Texas, or New Orleans, Louisiana. It's a pretty big police force, and a lot of the rank-and-file people are getting very frustrated. Tell the story about the guy who left because he wasn't allowed to be a police officer.
Yeah, I interviewed a man who is now working with another police force, and he twice while he was there, he was with the Capitol Police for 7 years, and twice was written up, disciplined, called into the captain's office to talk after going after. In one case, he wrote someone up for drunk driving. And in another case, he started a car chase after a hit and run that appeared to be a car hitting a moped. It turned out, after the fact, that the moped actually ran into the car, so that was considered a misdemeanor, and so he got in trouble for pursuing a misdemeanor crime in that case. Still, there was still a crime that occurred. This driver did blow through a red light, but he was told, "We're not here to make arrests."
We're not here to make arrests. That's from a police officer. And so was this just a catch and release thing then? They just send the guy on his way?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. So Chief Dine has been in office now or in his position, I should say, since 2012. So it's just been a little over 2 years. I understand that there's, according to your article, that there's a move now amongst the union to do a vote of no confidence. Has that ever been done before?
Not under this chief. There was talk of a vote of no confidence in 2012, but it was a labor dispute that that more involved employment conditions, including paid leave and FMLA time. But this is more about how he's doing his job, and it would be quite historic if the union chooses to take such a vote. The union represents about 960 members of the Capitol Police.
All right, so let me argue the other side of the equation from the chief's position. So you have this high-speed chase that's coming toward the Capitol, and it's happening on the State of the Union, right?
Right.
And if you get distracted with that, could that have been the purpose of a high-speed charge toward the Capitol, to distract the police on one side of the Capitol while you come at them from the other side? I mean, isn't that the chief's position? That, you know, if you get tied up in something like this, you may be going for the distraction and miss the actual attack?
Exactly, and I mean that's why these decisions are made. In this case, it was a call that came down from Watch Command, from someone who's not on the scene but far away and just seeing what took place, and they have every right to make that decision in this case. But this individual was driving on a suspended license, committed multiple traffic violations, and the other side of the story that I've also heard is there are nearly 1,600 people working on State of the Union night, so all hands on deck night. So to have 4 officers there, I mean, they already had called prisoner transport, and prisoner transport was on the scene, and then this decision came through that we're not going to arrest him. Stop what you're doing right now.
Wow. That is just remarkable, and goes against everything. I would think somebody who joins a police force goes against everything that they believe.
If you've got 1,596 police officers who are not distracted by that, seems like that's enough.
You would think. All right. Well, Hannah Hess, where do you think this goes from here? I mean, your story just broke this morning. Is there going to be any sort of action on this, and what are the prospects that the union will, in fact, do a vote of no confidence?
My understanding is they plan to survey the members and ask them if they want to take such a vote. That's one possibility. There's also, as is noted in the story, continuing discussions between these top level leaders who control Capitol Police, the sergeants at arms, about Dine's tenure. So I'll keep reporting it.
Do we have any sense of where they are on it? Because that would be a big thing, wouldn't it, if they didn't have the support of the sergeants at arms? You can read what's there in the story, and I have spoken to both men, and for right now they are supportive of the chief. They're backing the chief on his decision on this particular case.
Okay. All right. Hannah Hess, roll call. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much.